Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of You Can Sit With Us. I'm one of your hosts, Becky. I'm joined by Sarah.
Hi, I have food in my mouth.
We got Joey.
Hi, I don't have food in my mouth.
And we got Rainie on the ones and twos.
Hello.
What are the ones and twos?
I don't know either.
I think it has to do with drums. Isn't it the drums?
I was like, is this a podcast term I'm unfamiliar
You know what?
with?
I'm going to Google it. Ones and twos.
Every day we record, somebody says it, and I'm like, yeah, I
I
guess
thought
that's
it was
what I'm doing.
turntables.
I thought it was
Turntable
about...
1 and turntable 2.
It is. Turntable 1 and turntable 2.
It's a DJ thing?
It's a DJ thing,
Yeah.
not a drum thing.
The one and
It was
two.
just
I'm glad I
You're
got
on
it
the
right.
ones and twos because you're on the knobs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As
okay,
someone who
cool.
works in music, I'm like,
I was
no,
about to
I
say.
feel like that's the turntables.
Yeah. I didn't even need Google.
Maybe you should start DJing between segments.
I've got to be DJ.
You gotta.
Royalty free only.
Yeah, I would love like a track under
It
me every
doesn't
time I
have to
talk.
be. You know, YouTube has content ID. So
Oh, yeah.
if they're in the content ID system,
Oh, yeah.
they'll get compensated.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Vibe.
Win-win-win.
It's a win all around. Well, mommies, this is just kind of a continuation episode from our last one.
Okay.
Who knows how long it's been since they've heard us together. For us, just a few moments. For them, could be months.
I gotta change my
Eons.
outfit.
Could be months.
Lifetime.
They won't know. But Rainie and I asked our followers on Instagram to send us questions that they were too afraid to ask their mom friends.
Okay.
Because I know I was in that position when my friends started having kids where I was
100.
like, can I ask you this? Is this weird? Are you going to be mad at me? And also, like, I did want to know, like, way too much information sometimes.
Well, we're a bunch of yappers and we're open books. So, like, let's go.
Exactly. No, yeah. I mean, some people you were like, I would get answers, and I'm like, okay, we're not the same vibe. Good to know.
Yes.
Good to know. Or I'd get the other, like, they're like, like, wow, we do it this way, and I'm like, okay, well, good for you.
Whereas, like, would you like to see? Would you like to touch it? You
Yeah.
know?
Oh no. When
Oh.
I mean, I have to say, I was one of those women. I feel
I
bad.
saw it, Sarah. I saw it.
When I had those big knockers, I was so shocked by them. I made people hold them.
You're like,
I'm not
Okay, I
proud
didn't
of it.
hold Sarah's knocker.
I'm not. It was
But
one
I
of
did
close
see
friends.
a photo of
By the way, I
Julian's
thought,
head.
By the way, I thought they would like it. They did not. They were like,
you're like, this is
please,
really
I don't want to go
awkward.
home. And I was like, sorry.
I mean, the first time I did anything with Second Try, I was fully naked in a
that's
photo shoot.
Oh my God, yeah, I watched
And
it.
it
yeah.
was at the point where like the like nipple pasties and stuff just went. I was like, whatever. Like my areolas are the size of actual plates, and we're doing this shoot. Like you can just see it all. Like I can't
isn't
see
it
my
freeing?
vulva. You can see it though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the acceptance
whole
of it
pregnant
too,
belly.
where you're like, this is what it is.
But that's what is great. That is one of those things that is great about getting older is you're like, this is it. This is it, guys. Go for it. Like I was just like, even I remember at 16 being like, oh my God, is it okay? Like, obviously I look like perfect now looking back, but like,
Oh my God.
But my mom
do
told
look
me
perfect.
that, but like, but I'm like, I was so nervous. Now I'm just like, this is what you get. You're
This
so
is it.
lucky. Yeah.
This is it.
Wow.
This is it, and it's great.
And
Yeah.
should we grab a cigarette and be like,
Yeah.
well, kid.
Well, when I was back in a kid.
We got our
when
whiskey
I
out.
was a first-time mother.
Let me tell you the horrors.
I know. I still call myself a new mom.
You are still a new mom.
Yeah,
Did you
22
say
months.
new
I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I'm a new parent. Sorry. He'll be like
Sorry, I'm new.
17. I'm like, new parent.
I'm a new parent. It's crazy. We just have itty bitty tiny babies. Okay, guys, let's jump into these questions. I want to start with the most salacious ones. Not salacious, but the ones I found salacious.
Juicy.
Because we're
Yay.
yappers. You know
Yeah,
what I
we're
mean? I
yappers.
don't want to get something
No, it's
missed,
always fun to be salacious.
right? Someone wrote in, are you offended if I ask for just us time without your baby/kids?
No.
Not offended?
Not offended if
offended.
you ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're allowed to ask.
I'm always actually, they're like, we can hang out. I'm like, if Julian's there, no, we're not going to be really talking. So I give
Yeah.
a heads up because I'm
Yeah.
just like, or they're like, just bring Julian to the party. I'm like, that'll be great. I probably won't talk to you too much. But it depends. Everyone depends. Also, he's so young. Like the
Yeah.
older he gets, it's going to be different. But I can see how someone might be like, this is part of me. It's like one of those like gauge things. It's like
Yeah.
gauge the person you're talking to.
Yeah.
Like, do you think, because like I wouldn't, I'd be like, definitely. But, but also gauge the situation. I have a mom that's helping out a lot. He's in daycare. Like that's possible for me.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not possible for everyone. Like figure it out their situation and see if it's possible. Maybe you can go to them when their baby's gone to bed because it's going to be too hard for them to leave and get in the car and they're exhausted. But you were like, hey, I'll come with you and then we can have just us time. you know?
And context and delivery always matters.
100%.
Yeah.
Because like if we're in the middle of the dinner and my kid is next to me causing a nuisance and you're like,
oh my
do
God.
you mind if the next time your kid
that
doesn't
would
come?
be-
You would be offended.
Yeah,
I would
you're
cry.
right.
But if you're like, if we're here and we're making plans to hang out next time, but like, oh, let's just do us girls, you'd be like, oh, thank God. You know? And so like the context matters and delivery matters. But I think as a mom, I almost automatically assume that like if Rachel calls me to hang out, she means just me and not with our kids, even though they go to the same school and everything. Because it's like, well, we're friends, but Fox isn't her friend, right? Like I'm like, it's about me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just depends on the situation and when you're asking. But I wouldn't be offended unless like my kid's there and you're like, can you not bring him?
Next time I see you, can get this fucker out of the way.
This little yapper go.
Yeah.
I think I really aligned with what you said about when they're like, no, your kid can come. And you're like, but you don't get it. Then I'm not saying it's not fun for me because I don't love my child. But I'm saying it's not fun for me is because I can't stop being a mom. If I'm with you and I'm not with Henry, I can have an hour where I am a mom, but I'm not a mom.
Yeah.
I can still think, if Henry's there, I'm like, when has he eaten? When has he had enough water? Does he want a snack?
mouth.
And
Don't
they're
put that in
running
your
around
mouth.
like,
Don't jump off that thing. Don't fall backwards. I'm having a, like you said, half conversation with you, half looking at my kid. But then also the idea that it would be so easy to bring them. Like, oh, just bring them.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I get a lot of
no.
just bring, and you know, and when you also when the other person also has kids, you're like, we know what this is gonna be, and it'll be like,
Yeah.
you know, so and that's like fine, that's like what you're doing,
Yeah.
you know, but like I'm like that won't necessarily be so fun for me because it's like not a kid environment, so then I'm just making sure he's not like destroying your house, you know, because he's just at that age. When he gets older, it will be maybe possibly different, you know? Like I remember as a kid going to lots of parties and falling asleep on the couch. Like I loved it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like they would be raging and like I would be like, you know, and then they would carry me to a bedroom and then I'd fall asleep in the bedroom, you know, all like the hippies partying. That's like a different environment, but at this age it's like different, you know?
And if your parenting styles are the same vibe, like if we're bringing the kids, but all the parents are like, they can have an iPad at a restaurant for 30 minutes, then like it's cool for everyone.
Yeah.
But if they're on, like, you're not going to do it if your kid gets to have iPad, but they're not interested
That's
in
a really
screen
good
time
point,
at a
yeah.
restaurant. And then there's like fighting and stuff like, and you really can't get a word in.
Yeah.
So context.
Oh my God, I haven't even thought about that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's coming. Okay.
It's coming. It's on the
You get to make the
pipeline.
decision.
Yes.
Do you want to
Yeah.
eat?
Yeah.
Or do you want to limit screen?
Yeah.
I love my mom, but we don't eat out as much anymore because she's like more of a proper lady with eating out, that she thinks like kids can behave perfectly when we're eating out. And I'm like, he's too young for that. But she's like, but you were so good in a restaurant. I'm like, from your memory, there's no way at 2 I was like great at a restaurant. But like, I think it just makes her too nervous having him act up. So I'm like, maybe we don't get tacos out. You know, we bring them
Maybe
in.
we order them.
Yeah.
My parents specifically, like I remember it and they tell me about it all the time too, because my brother and I were so close in age. We're like a year apart.
Oh,
and
wow.
His birthday's May 12th and mine's May 26th.
Oh my
We're
gosh,
like
wow.
1 year apart. If we were at a restaurant and we were like a little older and like not, if you're being naughty, my parents were like, box it up. Box it up. We're leaving. They had like zero tolerance for like,
same.
you're not going to be a
generation.
terrorist here. We're going to leave.
Yeah.
Give me the check.
Do you guys remember this? I'm sure you do. I'll turn this car around right now.
Oh, 100%.
Did you get the
100%.
you'll turn a car
We're
around?
not
And
going.
seeing
100%.
my mom's eyes in the rearview mirror was like, she would go and you're like, you know,
You're
so
not
it's like
ruining
one
this for
look.
us.
She's like, I will stop this car right now.
And you're like,
okay, all right, I'll shut up.
sorry. They were great parents. We're
No, of
obviously
course.
good.
Yeah, no, love
We're
my
all
mom.
good now.
Hey,
Fine.
no, she
But-
was authority. Yeah.
But I also like get it. Wherein like when I was a server and kids were like throwing shit all over the place,
Oh, it was
there were
brutal.
times where I was like, okay, I don't think you should bring a kid here.
No.
But then there were other times, and especially now, where I'm like, well, if you clean up after your kid and they're not like making it dangerous for someone else, like kids are allowed to exist in spaces.
Yeah.
On airplanes, kids are allowed to exist in
Totally. But
restaurants.
it's hard. Yeah.
On the flip side, it could be really nice. Like imagine one of your girlfriends being like, I really miss you. Like, is it okay if Henny doesn't come next time? Is I just
That's
really
really
want
sweet,
your
yeah.
attention? Or like maybe there's something important I have to tell you, like I'm moving to Mars or whatever. So like, you know, like just suss out the situation, read the room essentially. But like by default, not offended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a mom, I'll suggest it. Because I'm like, if you really want to catch up, then I got to be this me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it depends on the friend too.
That's
like
very
we've
true.
we've been out when Henny was like a little baby and in the stroller, and it's like, well, if he like makes a sound or needs a diaper change, it's like, well, I'm a mom, so it's like, who cares?
Yeah, it's like whatever. I
of
remember
course.
going with Rachel and the girls. She called it exposure therapy because I hate public bathrooms, and so we would always go to this coffee shop. And when the girls were like potty training, she was like, "Well, you can either like stay out here and sit by yourself, and I'll take the two girls by myself into a public bathroom, or you come with me." And I would be like, "Okay, Rachel, I can do it. I can do it." And I was like, "Oh my God, I hate everything about this public."
I always forget this about you.
I know. I'll hold my bladder as long as I can so that I don't have to go to the bathroom. When did it start? Forever. I've never liked, I hate public, I don't even love going in other people's houses' bathrooms.
Really?
I like my bathroom.
Wow.
I can probably count on one hand the amount of times I've pooped in a toilet that's like not my toilet.
Ooh.
Maybe not because of
can't.
vacations. I guess because of vacations.
No way.
But no, everything just like stays inside.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll leave a public restroom and go, good luck in there, man.
You walk out of the bathroom, you're like,
you're welcome.
Woo.
I know. I'm
You're like, set the ambiance.
sorry. What can you do? I'm like, I'm not proud of it, but a girl's got to do what a girl's got to do. You know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
that is true. That's true. I vibe with that.
No, it's not. Hey, I've also been the one going to be like, man, what you doing here?
Who did this?
You know, it's part of the human experience. But we've also hung out when we went to the aquarium. Like it is really nice when they have like kids, but it's different, you know.
Or you know, you've mentioned the Century City bathroom, so maybe it depends on the public bathroom.
Yeah,
that's
ArcLight.
true. I love that one.
If it ever comes back, has it come back yet? ArcLight?
I don't think so.
I think it's gonna go. But they have the best bathrooms and truly the best mirror.
Okay.
I've never looked better than the ArcLight bathroom in Hollywood. I don't know what it is,
Remember
but since I was
fondly.
19, I've been going and being like, I gotta go to the bathroom because I love this mirror. There's just, always wanted to do like top 5 mirrors in LA in public restrooms.
Oh, you should.
Because
That's for TikTok. That's TikTok gold.
Because some bathrooms you're like, stay away from that bathroom.
100%.
That's the only reason
Where
I
to
would
take a
stay out of the bathroom.
selfie in a bathroom mirror in LA.
Yeah.
Viral.
You know it's terrible. Have you ever gone to a bathroom? There's no mirror and it just says you're beautiful. No, thank you. This is why I went to the
I don't
bathroom.
want it talking to me.
But
I just
also-
want to know if there's something in my teeth.
Yeah, that's why I went to the bathroom, obviously, just to look at the mirror.
No word art in general.
Yeah, no word art.
I was like, where's the mirror? Where's the mirror?
Trying to wipe it off. You're a vampire. Okay, well, I love that. I think we're all on the same page.
Yes.
Speaking for the mommies, we're not offended if you don't want our children somewhere.
No.
That's okay.
Yeah, just like figure out how to ask it in a
And
right way.
context. Yeah, context matters. Tone matters.
Yeah.
Live, laugh,
Take all the
love.
social cues. Yeah, you can.
Live, laugh, love. We have a question about this is the one I was talking to you guys about it before because I said we got a lot of questions about vaginas. So for those of us who have had vaginal births, most people just want to know how your vagina is afterwards. Is it really the same? Is it ever going to go back? Sarah, you had a C-section.
I'm sorry, I can't say anything.
Your
It's a
vagina's
silver lining about a
perfectly
C-section.
intact.
No one wants a C-section, but if you have
No.
one, you're kind of like, well, at least. But I don't know. It's just what I tell myself because no one wants a C-section.
No. Nobody wants to cut through, like, what is it, 7 layers of stomach?
let's not talk about it. It's so gross.
Subcutaneous fat
Oh my God.
and muscle.
My friend Catherine, when I had it, she went and watched a YouTube video of what it was like to no. I was like, why'd you do that? I didn't. I was screaming, knock me out.
Yeah.
Knock me out to the anesthesiologist.
No.
Yeah, so it's dark. But vaginal birth, hey, it can be really beautiful. You guys know. I don't know.
I gave birth vaginally twice.
Mhm.
And the thing to remember is your body changes every day, every week, throughout the month, depending on your hormonal phase, your period, whatever it is as you age. So I really don't think it's the like pre-birth it's one way and after birth it's one way. It's like, Yeah, if you get punched in the face, like you're gonna have a bruise on your eyeball for a while.
Hey, your vagina got really freaking
Yeah, it got
Vagina got really
bruised up.
Punched.
But like your cells regenerate.
Yeah.
Every single cell in your body gets renewed every 7 years. So if you want to think about that way, like your body is never returning back to whatever state from like second to second. So there is no like, will it snap back? Will it be as tight? Will it whatever?
Back.
Because like even if you don't have children, your vagina and your vulva will look different anyway because you're aging.
Yeah.
So I think it's
my vulva's
more,
getting old.
you know, it's like what
Your vulva is old, Sarah.
I mean, the things
You have
are
an
always
old vulva
wrinkly.
over
Right? They've
there.
always been wrinkly. Right.
right. So it's like
Vulva's always wrinkly.
A vulva is always a vulva.
Okay.
You've heard it here first.
it's totally fine to have questions and insecurities.
Yeah.
But I think like what we should unpack is like, why do we have like the husband stitch? Why are people nervous about
Totally, of
whether
course.
For people who don't know, what is the husband stitch?
So because of the belief that women might be looser or not the same, OBs used to add an extra stitch to your vaginal opening after giving birth because they thought it would like keep your opening smaller and tighter like for your husband. But, you know, it could be really painful. Like maybe it was smaller than you need it to be or whatever.
You're like,
it is.
too small. Okay.
Yeah. And like sex can end up being painful or whatever it is. And like I think those practices are kind of barbaric and they come from
100%.
a patriarchal system. And so if you're concerned about your own pleasure or like physical function and stuff like that, just, you know, listen to get a PT, you know, get a physical therapist.
Yeah, because it is about like Kegels and things like that.
Yeah.
My friend has Kegel weights.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to lift weights for your whole body.
Wait a moment.
Yeah.
Where did they go?
In like beads. You hold it up.
Oh, it's like beads. You put it in and it's like a weighted bead and you
I
hold
think
it.
it's called the
conference.
Evie or something.
Yeah, and she was like, I don't really feel, you know, what, I don't know. She like used them once. We like were dying laughing. But yeah, it's like literally like weights for your vagina. I've never used them, but I suppose you know, it's good. But I'm sure Kegels are fine doing too, you know.
Yeah.
Did everyone just do one? Everyone listening, did you just all do a Kegel?
Do your Kegel.
Hey, you can't
Do your
help it. It's like
Kegels.
yawning.
Do your Kegel.
Okay,
We're talking about it. You gotta do
let's
it.
hold
Everybody hold.
and release.
Such a weird
Good job,
feeling.
everyone. Good job.
But I think it is supposed to.
If you're comfortable, look at your labia now. It's gonna look different like 3 hours after birth. You probably won't want to look at it, but like the first few weeks, like you're super sore, you're bruised, you're engorged, etc.
Yeah.
And like you don't even like I'm not even thinking about what my
labia's last on the mind.
my vagina looks or feels like right now. But I am like, you will probably, without PT, experience some discomfort when you first start having intercourse. You know, it's par for the course. And like, no one's ever the same again. So don't expect it, don't need to be. I feel like most men, like, they're like, I don't notice a difference.
Yeah, I think that's what people are wondering. You know, but like, well, there's like you know, things are you can do, and I think it's more about like going in the bathroom and stuff like that. My friends that have had vaginal birth, you know, but you can like, but it eventually should go back. I think scientifically it should go back, you know, to like some close is like what I read that like it's designed to like expand and then like go back. But like I think the question is like, will sex feel differently? You know, is like what a lot of people like wonder. I think, you know,
But I think it's kind of the way you said it. Like if you get punched in the face, like if you have a broken nose, your nose is broken.
Yeah.
If you sneeze, it's gonna hurt.
yeah.
Like it's kind of like that.
And even when they like reset your nose, is it truly ever like no, but like
things are
do
always
you
gonna be a
notice?
little
No.
different, but no.
Not worse.
Yeah.
just
I would say
different,
my question for my friends before I gave birth, I was so concerned with tearing. I was like, the idea of having stitches and having someone stitch me up in my vagina made me like want to vomit. Like I was so
interesting.
scared of it.
Yeah.
And then afterwards I did tear and I did get stitches in my vagina.
Yeah. It
Well,
hurts for
level up.
weeks.
It hurt, but it wasn't, I had just given birth. It was the least painful thing I had done
There's bigger fish to
in
fry.
that 45 minutes.
Yeah, like if
I would say it hurt more when they were doing that massage to get the placenta out.
Yeah.
That hurt more than stitches in my vagina.
yeah, you're
You know what I
concerned
mean?
about other things.
You're not thinking about it. You're hopped up on adrenaline. And then afterwards, you take care of yourself just the same way you take care of an injury. You were injured.
Although this is what no one told me. Like, I was concerned about my tears, and I teared both times, and I did have to get stitches. But it was the hemorrhoids that I experienced the most pain. But like, you're like, the baby comes out of the vagina. Like, you're thinking about your vagina and like your labia tearing and whatever it is. But like, no one told me that I would have the most painful hemorrhoids for weeks.
What's a hemorrhoid?
So a hemorrhoid is when your capillaries get engorged because everything is engorged, and you're like pushing the baby out, and you're putting so much strength. It's like people who get constipated or whatever. And so like outside of my butthole, I had 2 hemorrhoids that were the size of like my thumb. And so I couldn't sit down, and it's like I did like lay in front of a mirror. Nurses had to help me put cream, and like I had to do a pain spray and stuff. So like, even though I had stitches in my vagina, I wasn't even thinking about it because I had like hemorrhoid. 2 finger-sized, engorged, painful like hemorrhoids out there from pushing that I was like, you know, it was like, who cares if my vagina is the same? What about my butthole?
Yeah. Is your butthole the same?
No.
How's your butthole now?
Never. So like, just like everything changes. Like your boobs will change.
Because
Your
it's the miracle
hair will
of
change.
life, all right?
My
Like,
shoe size changed.
The shoe size fucked me
But
up.
you
Going
guys-
from a
I
7 to a 7.5.
I did.
Changed me. Your feet stayed the same?
yep.
So
But you got kind of big feet, don't you?
I have 9.5. I'm 5, almost 5'10".
That's true.
Yeah.
You're tall.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was a 7.
Wow. What do you
Yeah,
know?
I was
7.
6,
Now I'm a
and only
7.5.
one of my feet is a 6.
Okay,
and a half
everyone is
now.
different because I gotta say I have extra skin in my and not to be like, but I'm just saying everyone is different. Like, yeah, I have some extra skin on my stomach, totally.
Oh,
but I
yeah.
don't think my body changed that much other than that.
Time.
Yeah.
I think the thing I didn't understand is my proportions were different.
Yeah.
Like maybe I
People
wasn't
rib
like
cage change.
yeah,
it
the
didn't
way
happen to
that
me, but
people
it happens
talk
to a lot of
about
people.
your like childbearing hips.
Yeah.
I never felt like I had childbearing hips.
I do.
And then
Now you're like,
when I put pants on, when I put jeans on for the first time afterwards, I was like, proportionally, this is wrong. Like something is wrong in the way I'm not wrong, but very different in the way I'm proportioned now than I was pre-baby.
Yeah.
yeah.
If that
Maybe
makes
I was
sense.
always post-baby.
I think
Since 16, I've been post-baby. That's why I didn't change that much. I've always had like fucking huge
womanly.
hips. Yeah,
But I
yeah.
also wonder if
Figures.
it's height too, because I'm shorter.
Yeah, it might be height, but
You
like I've
know?
always had like, big hips, big boobs, you know? Just, what can I say?
Yeah, my boobs have always been big, but they've never necessarily been as directionally challenged as they are now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I get now when people talk about getting boob jobs or like boob lifts.
I'm getting
like,
a lift.
Why would you need?
Just a
In my
little-
head, I was always like, why would you need a lift? Like boobs look like this. Boobs are this.
Yeah, I
And
mean, you
then-
don't need one. No one ever needs
one ever
one.
needs-
It's
unless
like
you want
obviously
one.
part of the
Yeah,
patriarchal
want one.
bullshit system.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
But like, you know, I'm in it. So
But I'm also like, yeah, when you look at yourself afterwards, I was like, oh, this is different. My boobs specifically. I'm like, these are
Yeah,
new.
I want my clothes
It's new.
to fit a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, it will never be the same.
Yeah.
But like, for what purpose? If it's like for sex, they're like, it's wet, it feels good. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
they're not
yeah.
gonna. They're not gonna be like, did you squeeze like 7% less
Yeah,
hard
yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever? It's like, do your
no, they're
Kegels.
not. It's like
Yeah,
it's
No.
gonna be great.
yeah,
Yeah.
You're fine.
When I did whatever, I'm a vain gal. I did have a consultation for a breast lift for like, you know, one day in the future, probably in a couple years.
Yeah.
And we were looking at the different boobs, and she was like, "So you'd be in the long boob category?" I'm like, "Okay,
That's how everyone wants to be
Thank
described.
you so
the
much. We
long
sure I'm in
boob
the long boob." She's
category.
like, "These are similar boobs." I'm like, "Really? Okay." You know, and then I was
Like
trying to be-
those?
I know. I was trying to be funny. I was like, "Whew, that's a funny set, right?" No laughter. She was like, And I was like, "That was real funny, right?" Because some boobs are funny, but she wasn't giving it to me. She was not having it. She was like, obviously,
like,
like,
I'm a
it's
medical
not funny.
professional.
You're like, how funny are my boobs?
I know. I'm like, I know they're long. Okay. I think my great grandmothers, you could whip them over her neck
Yeah,
like a.
but can they crack a joke?
yeah. With like
but are
a
they
scarf
do
by
they
the
have
end of the day.
5?
Yeah. I know they're not good looking, but do they have a personality?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
What's
and that's
the
what I'm
vibe?
looking at for a woman. Boobs with personality. Okay.
Go off.
We
One
know what
nipple's
you
here,
mean.
one nipple's there, and they're having a grand old time.
The size difference afterwards of having one smaller, one bigger,
Interesting.
I'm lopsided now.
Yeah.
But I actually don't know if I wasn't lopsided before because it's only a half cup size different. And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know if I would have noticed before.
Right.
But now that they're
You'll have other things
Where
to be
they're-
insecure
Yeah.
about. My vagina's not one of them, but I'm like, yeah, my nipples have been like chewed out and long. Like before they were like nipples. Now they're like nipples.
But you know, you can do
like,
it-
I care more because like that's like you see them all the time.
Yeah,
it's not like
yeah.
I'm like every day being like, what do you look like?
yeah.
No, I'm not. I gotta admit, I was like, I don't know when the last time I checked her. You know,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, I looked like 2 days after birth.
What? Are
I
you
did.
crazy?
I was
did.
like, you know what? I didn't get to see anything else. I want to see what's happening. And I literally went, ah! Because like I said, I had stitches. You're like, I was not
You're
prepared for the,
crazy.
I know.
I am not-
It's seared in my mind.
Yeah, no.
Like I love my vagina. She's my delicate little girl.
Mhm.
But I was terrified. I was
Yeah.
like, because it does. It looks
But
like
that's like
it looks like you were
if
injured because you were
You
injured.
were
Then
injured.
it heals.
When
It
you get
heals.
punched
Then it
in the
heals.
face,
Yes.
it's gonna
But
look
it's gonna
horrible until the
heal.
bruise
Yeah,
heals
it's not
away.
punched
And it's
forever.
all-
Yeah.
It's not punched forever.
But here's the thing too: is like at the end of the day, when I'm having a moment of like, well, the long boobs, I think they were long before, to be totally honest. But
That's what I'm like. I'm like, did I not
No,
notice?
because I oscillated in weight. When I gain weight, they're bonkers.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and then when not, I can like triple fold them. I can like fold them in half. You could like it's like origami. Yeah,
movies.
exactly. Yeah. It's like when I'm really skinny, but I have these like flaps, or I've like got these bonkers. It's like these two separate gals, but one for everyone. But like at the end of the day, if I'm having that moment, I go, "You made a fucking baby, man!
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
how crazy you like." Grew a human being, like a soul, like that is like totally crazy. Like who gives
Yeah.
a shit? You just like your priorities change.
Oh,
Like
100%.
I'm still like confident and proud of my body, and like honestly, even more so. Like yeah, there was like a pool day, and I looked at the pictures, and I was like, ugh, like a little bit because like I was like, oh, my extra skin on my stomach, all of that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, whatever. I was with my friends, and like, you know what? You just like give them like, oh well. As I think of like
YOLO.
exactly,
Yeah.
YOLO. When I was like 25, I would have been like, oh my god, I'm gonna go to the gym every single day, And then you
Yeah.
just like grow up, and you're like, fucking cares. No one cares. No one's looking at you, really.
Your body is designed for homeostasis to return back to your center. So you're gonna be good. You're gonna be
Exactly.
You're gonna be good.
And like one thing I like remember, like, 'cause I've dieted, I've done all the shit in my life. Like I've had eating disorders, I've done all of it, I've been all the sizes. And like, if I could take that time back for her, I would, because I feel like I could have gone to law school just for fun, like
with
the
all
amount
the
of-
extra time.
yeah,
all
with
the
the
extra
calorie
time
books.
spent,
And like,
yeah.
I truly believe this is like a way to keep women submissive is dieting. I really believe it, because it's to keep you small. It's to take up physically less space and to physically take over your mind. Because it's like, I think all the time, I'm like, I would be doing things and I'm like, a guy asked me once, he was like, oh, Sarah, like, what are you thinking about? I'm like, how many calories are in a fucking banana? And I'm like, oh, I'm losing, I'm losing out. And like, I would see Miles like who's like free. And I was like, I want to be free like that, know? And like, that is something that like, I've had to I had to start intuitive eating years ago, because I was like, I'm tired of the game. Like I would oscillate from size to size, and you can do the post baby too. You're like obsessed with like da-da-da.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not saying that I'm not free from that, but like it's freedom, guys, if you let go. And then and just like finally listen to your body. Like I only knew what being really full was like, or being starving, for like 15 years. Like I didn't, you know what I mean? Like those are the extremes I knew. It was like diet Sarah, like having a blast till I'm sick, Sarah, So like, but that's not freedom. And so like, it's just like, and I would do the diet is the last day thing. I'd be like, we start Monday, and like, that's not a way to live either, because like, you're not like, you're thinking the joy ends. And I love food so much, it's like a big part of my life. So that was just my thing of like, that can happen too post-baby.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like the obsession with that. And just like, I know it's impossible, but just like fight it. Like fighting it is a revolution,
For
fight
your body,
it.
for the nipple, for your
Exactly.
vagina.
Just like
Free it
free.
all.
Like don't,
Yeah.
man, like, and And like people don't care. You know, like I know we're thin obsessed, and as much as we say we're not, I know we are, but I really, really, truly believe that is so they keep us small. So fight the power, man.
Yeah.
That's
Fight
all
the
my little
power,
shtick.
man.
Yeah.
Outside and inside.
Yeah.
Do what you can.
Yeah.
Do what you can.
Yeah.
And the next
Also,
phase
like-
is all for big vagina.
Woo!
Big
Let's do it.
vagina.
Big sugar, big vagina.
Big sister.
Big tobacco.
Yeah. Big tobacco.
It's okay. You're going to
All
be
the
fine.
bigs.
Hi, I'm here
Yeah.
representing big vagina.
Make sure you're not experiencing pain.
Yeah.
Work towards your pleasure.
Yeah.
Size doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Oh, I really liked this question that someone wrote in. They said, how do you choose a partner who will make a good parent?
Think about the worst day you've ever had, whether that's losing someone, your most sickest day, the day that you've had the most heartbreak. And can you imagine that person dropping everything and supporting you as opposed to, if you can't even text me back, how are they going to support me when a parent dies? How are they going to support me or support each other when the baby's been purple crying for 4 hours or whatever it is? And so I think, you know, that's a thing. Like, is this a caregiver or are they not really in it for you? Because you're going to experience those lows, like health emergencies, emotional trauma or whatever it is. And like, imagine that person on the worst day you've already had. Do you feel better with them there? Or does it give you anxiety? Or do you feel like they'll be negligent? I think that's a pretty good indicator of whether this person is a good person to have a kid with.
Yeah.
And this is the biggest decision. Like, marriages begin and end. They actually, marriages all end either in death or divorce.
Yeah.
Only 2 ways about it. So like, your marriage is going to end, but like, a kid is forever. So like, you have to co-parent with this person forever.
Yeah.
So like, if you can't imagine them being your rock on your very worst day, don't fucking have a kid with them.
Yeah. I also think just like, I didn't think about it. Like when
You were
Keith
so
and I,
young.
when Keith and I were first got together, when we got married, any of that time, I never even had the thought of like, will Keith make a good dad? Because I just knew he was a good person.
Yeah.
And so I think like there's that saying that like only good parents worry about whether or not they're a good parent. Like it's kind of like that, where like if you don't have to worry about it, then you know what I mean? If you don't have to think about it, then they're going to make a good parent.
Yeah, it's a feeling.
know?
I was going to say like, those are all the right things that make like a person. But like when I met Miles, I immediately was like, that he's going to be a good dad. Like that was like a third thought I had.
Yeah.
Even like at the party we're talking, I'm like, he'd be, like it's an instinctual thing. I know that's not very helpful, but like you see how as you're dating, you're like all those things that Joey, you mentioned, those are all things that prove to you like, is this person, supportive? Like, are they going to be there for you? Are they going to be, they understand compromise? But like, also like, I'm like, do they want kids?
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. And like, look, people change their mind totally. And then they become like great parents. But for me, I needed to find someone that was like 100%. I'm excited to have kids, and that's my particular situation. Definitely. I know couples that like decided to change their mind and then had like great kids. But that was like a simple sign to me that like kids excited them, that like we were both like goofy. I mean, we're both improvisers. So we're like goofy people that like to play. And like to play was a fun thing. But like, it was kind of just like instinctual. I think like when I described him to my friends, I'm like, he's going to be an amazing dad, But like I also met him when I was 30, so it's like those are things you're thinking about already,
Oh, yeah.
Another thing, like if you're already dating or living together, so much of parenting is in the mundane and in the minutia of like every day is the same or whatever it is. So like think of the most mundane things you guys have to do, like taking out the trash, changing kitty litter, or like making plans. And so if you are already feeling like there's an unequal mental load, like maybe you're the person who plans everything for your vacation and you get a little frustrated with your partner of like not contributing a much, or maybe they like contribute with like they'll carry all the suitcases and do that stuff, and you're okay with that balance of like what you're good at, what they're good at. Do you feel like everyone's pulling their weight? That's a good indicator. But if you're dating and you're already feeling like, well, I make all the food and I plan all our vacations and I think of all the fun ideas. And like, you only take the trash out when I ask you to. Like, those things are just going to be magnified when you're parents.
Yeah.
And like, that's not exactly like parenting itself, but it is like living your mundane life of the day to day of like, it might make or break your marriage. And then for there, you might have to co-parent in a different way because you like cannot put up with 15 years of telling someone to do something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No,
So,
it's 100%.
It's the mundane shit.
It's also like Miles and I always look at each other because you're just like spend so much time doing this mundane shit that we were like, imagine if we didn't like each other.
Yeah.
Like we
100%.
like no matter what, if like I mean, look, we get into fights. We're not like those. We're not a couple that doesn't fight or anything.
Yeah.
But like,
I think those couples don't exist. I think if someone says they don't fight, I'm like, you're either a liar or like there's deeper
it's
levels
just like
we need to
getting
go
better
to.
at fighting. As I realize, being like, I'm someone that needs breaks. I'm like, I need a break. Like Miles wants to solve it right away. I'm like, I have to go to the other room. You know.
Yeah.
But like, I think we're just like, we generally like. I love spending time with him. And I have a good time with him. And we like make jokes and have like, it's like a blast, you know? Like, I just feel like you have to like each other.
That basis, that foundation of love. So that when you're like up at 4 a.m., like literally picking up like spit up or poop off the ground, you're like, fucking hate this, but I still love you and we'll get through it. You know, like, do you have that foundation?
Exactly. And I mean, look, post-baby, was I like, I hate all men forever because they don't have to go through this? Sure. Okay, maybe a little bit, but you get through it.
I feel like it's like phases. You can go through phases. Because there are certain things that I'm like, Keith, as hard as he wants to try and as hard as he wants to be empathetic, he will never know what that physical experience and the physical toll of having Henny was. And that's not something to be mad at him about. You know what I mean? I'm like, just because he can't fully understand that ever, we're just different. I also can't fully understand what it's like to see your partner in so much pain and be able to do abso-fucking-lutely nothing but like a damp towel. Like, I don't know.
It's still traumatic
It's still traumatic in its own way.
Yeah.
I'm like, you won't know exactly what the other person's in, but as long as you can try and then find that baseline of understanding.
Yeah.
I think that's how you get over the sort of like postpartum rage bits.
Yeah.
Instinct of like, are they a good person? Do I like them? Are they supportive?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And like in the most mundane, boring time, like, are you good?
Yeah.
Because you're going to experience a lot of that.
Yeah. One question we got, I don't know if I should say who it's from. It was from someone we know. They asked someone here. Not in this room.
I was like,
one of the questions.
Someone here named
me.
Would like to know.
I don't think I heard anything. Unless I did it while sleeping.
No, but they asked, do you ever regret having kids? Was there ever a time where you were like, I shouldn't have done this?
Oh, right after the baby. Fuck yeah. I was like, I fucking made a mistake. I was like,
Put it back in.
I was like kind of the first to have a baby in my friend group. Not that I'm like a baby or anything, although maybe I look it.
You do.
It was, everyone was like, we're going out tonight. And I was like, I can't. You know, it was a huge transformation. And I felt trapped and like scared. And had, you know, postpartum. It was just like heavy. And I was like, oh my God, I think I made a mistake. You know, it was also like, my mom said it to me after that. She's like, in my life, everything I had done, I felt like I could get out of. Like a boyfriend, you know, get out. Even marriage, you can get out of that.
Yeah.
You know, like not that I want to. But you could always like, a job. You know, I've definitely been like, sorry, I'm sick. I have to quit. You know, like, you just always, and then this was the first thing in my life where I was like, oh my God, I can't quit. And that scared the shit out of me, you know? And now, not one moment do I have, you know, like, obviously, I mean, like once in a while, you're like, I made a choice, you know? But
it is what it is.
Yeah, you know? But like, I know that there's like serious, I think there's like a whole side of TikTok. I was like, I don't want to be on this, but like there's a whole side of TikTok literally that's like regretful parents.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, that's not how I feel. Yeah. But you do have moments of like, it is a different life. It is hard and it is wonderful. But like for me, how I got it was like, I've partied. I like lived my life and I will continue to. Yeah. But it is difficult, you know, but it's like those highs and lows. It's like, this is a dumb metaphor, but like, kind of like, working out like is really hard and it's like laborious, but then like afterwards you're like, I'm glad I did it. It's kind of like that. Like it's a lot of labor, but then you're like, you get those like chemicals and you're like, I'm feeling good. I'm like, I'm so glad I did it. It's just, it's complicated. But if you have that regret right after birth or something like that, don't be freaked out. Is all I'm saying.
It's a normal
How do you
feeling.
feel, Becky?
I don't think there was ever a time where I like truly regretted having Henny, but I do think if I had a second kid, I would regret it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I think for a lot of people when it comes to having a second kid, especially if their kid was in the NICU or whatever, a lot of times you can't pinpoint what happened or why they came early. Like I know 100% why Henny came early. Yeah. And like that biology within me is not changing. So I think if I were to put myself in that situation again, I would regret it. I mean,
knowing the ramifications.
Knowing the ramifications, knowing that like it's not a maybe your kid will come early. It is your kid will come early. And now it's just a question of how early.
Right.
And that's not something, at least at this point, I mean, I can always change my mind. Everyone can change their mind. But at this point, I think I would regret having another kid.
Yeah. I think no regrets, like the We Are the Millers, the tattoo, no regrets.
No regrets.
But, I would never regret having my children, but do I question it all the time of like questioning my choices? And I get this question quite a lot because I'm autistic. So they're like, knowing that you're autistic now, after you had kids, if you had known like when you were 17 or 9 or whatever, would you choose to have kids? And I've been pretty honest of like, retrospect, hindsight is 2020, and I was like, probably not. So like I have so many sensory issues, executive functioning issues. My kids are neurodivergent. It's a lot. Like it's very different being disabled, parenting disabled people. And obviously parenting is tough in a lot of ways, but like there is an extra layer of it being tough of like, most people may not feel suicidal at prolonged crying because of the sensory overwhelm. But you might face that when you have that issue in your life or you are autistic or any other kind of neurodivergence where your senses are like, I'm in so much pain because of this sound, right? But now that I have them, like I'm not going back. I love them. Yeah. So I always kind of explain to like expectant mothers of like, I love my kids. I do not always like being a mother. And I think that's the difference. Like I never regret having them, but would I choose to be a mother and like go through parenting? Probably not.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
I would say like it's who I am. And like, I always knew I was going to be a mom since I was a kid. Like that's who I am. I always wanted a big family. Like I'm proud and like I love that is the environment I want to build. But but it's also hard. I think that's like a complicated thing. Like motherhood is also hard. It's just complicated. Yeah. So it's like regret isn't almost the question. Like I of course don't regret it. Like best thing ever. Yeah. But it doesn't. I think when people will say that, are like, do you have moments where it's really hard? And you're like, yes. Yeah. I think that's the really question. Do you have moments of like, this is hard. I'm in a final, like this is a final exam kind of like, and this is really difficult, and it's not all joy. Because I think we're under this thing that motherhood is supposed to be all joyful. And it's not.
You should be grateful all the time. And you're like 4 loads of laundry on a Sunday night? No.
It's difficult work and it's a job, And it's like, I'm proud of this job and I want to be the best damn mother I could possibly fucking be. But like, that means it's hard sometimes, so it is sacrifice too. Like, it's like, I can't like party till 2 a.m. That's fine now, but like, there are moments where like the other week, like my friends were all going out and I really wanted to go to this party. I really did. I just knew I couldn't because I was too tired, but it was heartbreaking a little because I was like, man, I would have had so much fun. And it wasn't like I was like, I couldn't get a babysitter. And it was just that I just knew I'd be too tired and I was too tired. Yeah. And that made me a little sad. Again, it's not a regret feeling. It just was like my life is different. My life is different. Almost. Yeah. It's a grief of like a past like thing I could have done. It doesn't mean that every party I can't go to. It was just this particular night I was too tired. Yeah. So, but I realize that also happens, when you don't have kids, but more so.
And nothing we can tell you will make sense until you experience it firsthand. So if you're really questioning it, like spend a lot of time with kids. Like if you really feel
Yeah.
like I'm definitely going to be a mom,
Yeah.
I wish I spent more time like babysitting babies.
I did a
and
lot of
babysitting
babysitting.
kids.
I did a lot of babysitting.
And stuff like that, like at that age or like with your partner. If
Yeah.
you're going to have kids with a partner, like do it together. Don't just
Yeah.
be like, you're at the hospital and this is the first time you've ever changed a diaper. Like then you're really in for it, you know?
Yeah.
And we've said this before, I think, on the pod, but I also think like before I was like, you have to have kids to like have like a life. I'm like, no, you can
Oh, 100%.
not have kids and have a great fucking life.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just two different lives. Like I was having a great life. And I think that we have this pressure as women to be like, if to be fulfilled,
You have to be a
have
mom.
children. And
Yeah.
I'm like, incorrect. You
Yeah.
know, because there's sacrifices I'm making. There's career stuff that I wish I was doing more. You know, there's
100%.
like all these other things I wish I was doing more that I can't.
The
I'm
clothes
happy.
I would buy if I weren't paying for
Oh
a nanny.
my God. The clothes I would buy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, like, but that's okay with me. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's almost like but like, also though, I'm like, rock on. You're going to live like a fabulous life. You're not going to be unfulfilled at all if that's not what you don't want to fucking do.
No,
You know?
I think I mentioned it before and I saw a comment that somebody wrote that said there was a study on it. Because I was like, is it, because I was kind of in the same boat as you. I always knew I wanted to get married. That was like, I want to be a wife. I'm so excited. Like,
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I was just like, I thought I was going to get married I'm from the Midwest. I thought I was going to
Yeah.
get married at like 22.
What?
I was like, oh yeah.
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
God. I didn't know people got married at 22.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Child bride.
Child bride. I thought I was going to be a 22-year-old bride, 23 at the latest. And my best friend always reminds me, I thought I was going to adopt kids. I was so like, I do
Interesting.
not want to actually physically birth a child.
Whoa.
I want to adopt a kid. And then, once I got older, then I was like, no, I do want to have this experience or whatever. The thing that I saw in our comments was someone was talking about, because I had brought up, well, did I actually want to be a mom when I was younger, or was I just told over and over and over with baby dolls, with playing house, with seeing
it's
moms
trained,
on TV,
totally.
seeing moms, even just the moms in my life. I most of my friends' moms were working moms. They're who work outside of the home, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know what do we say? Working moms, isn't everyone a working mom? Because you're always working, but
I
they
don't know.
they left the house to do a 9-to-5
Yeah.
job and came back,
Right,
and
yeah.
still had
Paid
to be mommies.
employment.
Paid employment, yeah.
Moms.
So like I'm like, was it that was in my head that was telling me that I want to be a mom, or was there something like within me that wanted? And I think for me, it was I innately wanted to be. I loved babysitting. I love babies. I like
I'm pretty sure I was a
nurturing.
baby who loved baby. Like I
Yeah.
remember being like a 4-year-old who just loved babies and like
Yeah.
couldn't wait to have a baby
Yeah.
of my own.
But that's why I think like to the point of like there are these sliding doors where I'm like, probably when I was younger, I thought the only way to be happy and fulfilled was to have a family. But now that I have a kid and I have a family, I could be like, Keith and I were a family on our own.
Yeah.
You know
Would
what I
have had a
mean? There's
great
that
life without
sliding
them.
door where,
It's also like one kid versus more kid, like
Yeah.
it's like, like it's you kind of know. And it's like
yeah.
and it's also what your situation is, like, like everything. But there's lots of option, guys.
Oh yeah. I mean, like
Yeah.
when during that first year of having 2 kids.
Yeah, my God.
Everyone is obsessed with my younger one, Romy. Like she's so lovable.
She is the perfect, she's like Boo from Monsters Inc. If anyone needs a visual, she's the cutest, chunkiest, cheeked, sweetest little voiced
I know
girl
she just looks like a
I've ever
cartoon
met.
baby.
Yeah.
But like there are moments where like you're so overwhelmed, you're like, why did we have 2 kids? You're just screaming this. Like,
Oh my God, yeah.
But you're like losing your mind. And you're like,
Yeah.
but
No,
like
it's really
5
hard.
seconds later, you're like, I love you so much.
No,
I could
it-
eat you.
It
and
is
then
those
like 2
highs
seconds
and
later, you're like,
lows. Yeah.
yeah,
It
it's
is
the
those, like-
extremes. We talk a lot about the hardships, but like not a lot of people also talk about the extreme joy of like a tiny thing.
Like I mean, like I've had moments where I'm like, fuck my career. You're like, you know what? Like I have been since a kid, like little kid, like career number 1. All I want to do is like, be awesome and famous and great, and like that's not like kill your ambition. I'm still ambitious, but you're like, I mean, I think sometimes when performers, you have a little hole, Why do you want to be a performer? You might have a little hole. And I think sometimes it's like fulfilled a little bit when you're like, actually, I'm really happy here. Like, like I do this thing with Miles and I'm less like, hey, are you happy? And he's like, yeah. And it's just like this, like, and it's when we're all like together and, and and we're like, like this morning.
Snuggles in the morning.
Oh my God. We woke up and Miles makes me coffee and we sit and have coffee and we read books and I'm like, it's all worth it for this moment. And I'm not a morning person.
Mm-hmm.
You were always the night owl, and now you've swapped.
I had to. It was forced.
Yeah.
But I'm okay on the other side.
We're good.
Yeah, I do think the question I get a lot from my friends who don't have kids is when it comes to not regret, but like, do you miss like going out? Do you miss being,
and all the time.
I'm like, yes, I miss the freedom of being able to say, yeah, I want to go out right now. But do I like miss those things more than I love hanging out with Henny?
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Do I miss being an independent person with no responsibilities other than to myself? Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just like the scale is tipped.
It's because I have a lot of friends that don't have kids yet, or it's like it's shined more bright to me. Like the contrast.
Oh yeah.
Whatever.
Yes,
you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying.
The contrast of like the alternate sliding doors there, or like what I could.
Yeah.
So I often I'm like, the invites are coming. I can see them trickle out less because they're like, we know you're not going to make it, which makes my heart like sink a little, but also so it's like I can see her. I had literally the other night I was like imagining myself there, just chatting up, fucking killing it as I was like in bed. But like, guys, that's like life. There's so many career options. There's so many things we could have done. Sometimes I'm like, I would have been a great lawyer. Like you're
obsessed with going to law school.
Yeah.
I knew. It's legally blonde.
Legally,
so
Sarah.
there's a lot. Did you know a lot of theater majors go to law school?
Really? Oh, because you can like.
I think it's a bait and switch, though. Yes, I think they think it's that. But then they think it's that. But you're just in a room with a contract.
Highlighting
Yeah. Like I was just like, I just kind of want to be like, Matlock, like Your Honor. But then you're like, no, you're just doing contracts.
Yeah.
No, I have like some lawyers like Kelly, but like. Yeah, that there's you guys. That's life. There's infinite freaking choices, which is exciting. I mean, not for everyone, but like it's just like, you can't get through the. I have decision regret all the time. I was always like, what the fuck is going out there? I was like, I should have done this. I should have done that. It's exhausting. Don't do that. It's just like it is what it is.
I can't remember accurately, but I think what like Sylvia Plath wrote about.
Oh God!
Oh boy, are we supposed to take advice from Sylvia?
No, but like
she was amazing.
Female
though.
writer.
She got fucked by her husband.
Yeah, I'm taking.
Maybe
I
don't know enough about her.
But it's like life.
You got it. She's amazing.
Was likening it to a tree, like motherhood to a tree. Of like every woman within them sees all these branches of how their life could have been.
Yeah,
it's like there's a branch where you're a lawyer. There's a quantum world where you're on Broadway or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But then you pick a branch and you sort of say goodbye to those other versions of you, but they're within you, and you just choose and you grow in that direction. And so all of the directions would have been equally bountiful of leaves or whatever. You just pick a branch.
That's a beautiful way to think about it.
Was it Beljar or I don't know? That's so great. I mean, no, she's actually really wonderful. I used to listen to these recordings of Sylvia Plath doing her poetry, and I would be in my car in college going home, and you could like just hearing her voice was so intense.
You're so much smarter than me in college.
I might have got the writer totally
DJs.
wrong. I'm just like, no writer who wrote about the tree. I like can't pull it out of my brain
that sounds right. She wrote a lot about motherhood,
right?
Because it's complicated, especially for a woman of that time. My God, they were just like popping Valium because they were stuck.
Yeah.
They were like imprisoned. That was a really brutal time. Yeah,
and also I still think it's crazy. What was it? 1960s women could get credit cards. Not in their husbands' names.
I know, yeah.
How old is Kamala?
Well, when my mom
lived through it.
My mom couldn't buy her house. My mom bought her house in 1971 after she graduated college, and because she whatever grandparents or something, and she couldn't buy it without.
It's crazy.
A man, yeah.
Oh wow.
It's just like bonkers to me. But I think that's why
you get to have a choice.
Complicated.
And then you make a choice and you're going to be okay.
You're going to be okay. Also, it's just like, I just always say like, fuck it, close your eyes and just go for it. A lot of stuff,
That's
like,
true.
It's like you could question till the day, like, is this the right guy? Is this the right thing? I'm like, I don't know. Just like,
time.
Yeah, go with your gut.
Yeah.
Like just like close your eyes. You never know. And just say, fuck it, and press the pedal. Is that the phrase?
Although I don't
The pedal
think
to
you
the
should
metal?
just close
Yeah,
your eyes
right.
and be like, fuck it, we'll have a kid.
No.
That's a pretty big decision.
No, I
yeah.
agree. But if you
But
have
have some faith in yourself.
if you
Yeah.
have that to get to that point,
Yes.
Yeah. One of my girlfriends and I, she said this to me at my wedding years, we just had our like 7-year wedding anniversary.
Uh-huh.
We were talking about this other friend that I fell out with. And she was like, if you look back on your wedding day, do you think you'll be sad that she wasn't there? And I was like, no. Like, I don't think I'm going to look back on that day and like remember that now 7 years later, I'm talking about it. So obviously I did remember that she wasn't there, but I don't feel sad that she wasn't there. You know what I mean? So I feel like that same kind of logic could apply. If you could look at your life 10, 20 years from now, and you could see that you're having a happy, fulfilled life, and you won't look at it as like a kid's not in there, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you see a kid there, have a kid.
Yeah. Lots of ways to have a kid.
I
There's
think
lots of ways
maybe
to do
because I'm
it.
like a little older than you guys. Like I just turned 39. A lot of my friends are turning 40 this year or like have turned 40. And there is a divide of like the 40-year-olds with kids and the 40-year-olds who have either younger kids or much older kids. And you can look at your friend group and be like, would I rather be single dude, 40, no kids, or would I rather be like tired, I can't go out or can't go to this dinner, whatever, mom of 2? And like every time I'm like, I'd rather be me.
Yeah.
And like ask those questions of yourself before.
Oh, no. That's how actually I saw this thing. It was on TikTok. I don't know who said it, but
She read it in a book.
I read it,
I read it on
in a
TikTok.
book. People are going to literally comment. They're like, it was this guy's hair. And I'll be like, whoops. But he was like, when you're jealous, because I get jealous all the time, but then you have to be jealous of the whole person.
Yeah.
So like, let's say you're jealous of like super famous like actor or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, but then do you want all the lawsuits they have against them? Do you want the fame where they literally can't leave their house and they have no personal relationship? Do you want where they don't know if people like them for them or their fame at all? And it's like hard to even exist. Like, yeah, you want their face, but do you want all of those things with them? Like, no. You know, like I get jealous that maybe I can't go to the party that night, but I want my life.
Yeah.
You know? And like, I'm like, those are your moments.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Sarah, that's beautiful. Last message to leave us
thank you.
with.
This guy
That
on
was
TikTok
gorgeous.
said it.
Thank you, TikTok guy.
I think he was a therapist.
Yeah.
I gotta remember who he was.
He's like a 17-year-old.
Oh my God. It was like somebody that was like, hey, so I was thinking the other day.
Joey, I actually feel like you give really beautiful, eloquent advice.
Oh, thank
Is there
you.
one last advice you would give to what advice would you give to a friend without kids talking to their friends with kids?
Whether they're asking if they should have them.
No, just asking how to approach your friends with kids for any question about like hanging out, about what was birth like. I guess having difficult conversations with your mom friends from a non-mom perspective.
Approach them as your friend first and not a mother first. Like just because we had kids doesn't mean we're different people. Like I didn't, the Ali Wong quote, I didn't suddenly stop being an asshole. Remember that we aren't just mothers and we're not just anything. So like if you've known me for years and years and years, treat me like that person that you always know. Ask me to hang out in the way you would otherwise, consider the context or whatever it is. But like I'm still me.
Yeah.
So just remember your friends are still you. We might not be able to come, but it's nice that you ask.
I agree. It's like, even if you know I'm not going to come, I like to be included on the emails, even if it's something I'm not being part of. I still want to get, I every week I've been invited to this practice I can't make. I love being included.
Absolutely. My friend Trig went to Japan for a month for his 40th birthday. And I was like, I can't come, but make sure I'm on every single email. And he had like 7-paragraph emails of their plans. I'm like, I love this for you.
What is with us? I don't think everyone's like this. When people are like, please remove me from the list, I'm like, what? Never remove me.
Because you want to feel, because you're hanging on to the parts of yourself that still feel more like myself as opposed to I'm Julian's mom. So like myself, it's like, I'm your friend. If I didn't have kids, I would have been there and I want to be included. I don't want to be like an alien or outcasted from the friend group anymore just because I can't come. So like if I can participate in any way, like reading the emails, I will.
That was beautiful.
So beautiful.
That was beautiful.
Really good advice.
Yeah.
Lady Pops, thank you so much for being here today. Where can the people find you?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram at Joey No Good. Thanks for having me.
You can find me at Instagram or TikTok at PTBon.
And until next time, guys, make sure you're washing your hands, peeing after sex, being nice to people, be nice to yourselves, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.